When we started Luster Atelier, it wasn't about money. It was about art, about making something beautiful out of nothing. I remember those nights in my apartment kitchen, mixing candle wax and essential oils, trying to create something that felt like luxury but smelled like home. That's how it began. Two women, a dream, and an idea that burned brighter than the candles we sold. I was the creator, the hands-on one, the person who knew what customers wanted because I was the customer once, broke, searching for meaning in small rituals. And then there was Janelle, my business partner, my supposed best friend. She had the charisma I didn't, the talker, the networker, the one who could charm investors out of their wallets and convince vendors to delay invoices with just a smile. Together, we were unstoppable, or so I thought. The first time I suspected something was off, it was subtle, a hesitation, a glance, a missed call. Janelle had started taking long strategy meetings without me. I brushed it off at first. She was the extrovert after all, and I was the behind-the-scenes one. But then I found an email, one that wasn't meant for me. It was in our shared inbox, buried under shipping confirmations and supplier quotes. The subject line read, "Investor Contract Discussion, Draft 3. My stomach twisted. I opened it, my hands shaking. The email was between Janelle and a man named Elliot Voss, a venture capitalist she'd mentioned once or twice, but never with any detail. They were discussing equity splits and new ownership structures, and my name wasn't mentioned anywhere. The words blurred for a moment, the kind of blur that happens when rage and disbelief hit at once. Janelle was planning to sell our company without me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every memory of us, the late-night packaging sessions, the laughter, the promises of forever partners, turned into betrayal in my mind. I kept replaying her smile, the way she used to say, "We're in this together, always." How could someone plot something like that and still sit next to me, acting normal? By morning, I'd moved past disbelief. I went cold, detached. I knew I couldn't confront her, not yet. Janelle was the kind of person who'd twist any situation to her advantage. If I accused her now, she'd deny it, maybe even manipulate me into thinking I misunderstood. No, I needed proof. I needed leverage. Over the next week, I started quietly tracking everything. I copied her files, forwarded key documents to a private email, and took screenshots of messages and drafts. I even recorded one of our team meetings, where she casually mentioned, "We might soon have new leadership involved." She looked right at me when she said it, a challenge hiding behind that sugary tone. She wanted me to react. I didn't. Instead, I went to work on something she didn't know I understood: intellectual property law. During our early days, we'd thrown together our branding, logos, and packaging design without much thought for legal protection. The brand was registered under our company, not under our individual names. But here's the thing, I'd created the logo myself. I had the original sketches, the drafts, the Adobe project files with timestamps showing my authorship. That meant, legally, I could file a trademark claim for the design and brand identity under a new entity. So that's exactly what I did. I spent 3 sleepless nights researching, registering, and filing. I changed the name slightly, Luster Atelier Co. instead of Luster Atelier, a move subtle enough that customers wouldn't notice, but legally distinct enough to be fully mine. I filed trademarks for the logo, slogan, and even our signature scent names. Then I registered a new LLC in my own name. 2 days later, I opened a new business account and quietly began transferring supplier contracts and inventory invoices under the new entity. No one questioned it. The paperwork looked official, the email signatures matched, and most of our vendors only cared that they were getting paid. Meanwhile, Janelle kept pretending everything was normal. She even invited me to dinner one night, saying she wanted to catch up outside of work. I went, mostly to observe. She spent half the evening on her phone, texting and smiling to herself. When I asked if everything was okay, she said, "Just some good news coming soon. You'll see." Oh, I'd see all right. By the following week, I'd gathered enough evidence to know her big investor meeting was scheduled for Friday at 11 a.m. She planned to pitch Lester Atelier to Elliot's firm for a massive buy-in that would effectively give her control and push me out. The documents I'd seen showed that she had restructured the ownership split to 80-20. Her favor, of course, claiming she was the primary visionary and I was a supporting founder. The audacity almost made me laugh. Friday morning, I arrived at the office early. Janelle was already dressed like she was attending a gala. Tailored blazer, gold jewelry, perfect makeup. She looked radiant, confident. I kept my tone neutral as I said, "Big day." She smirked, not even trying to hide it. "Could be," she said. "Don't worry, Maya. Everything's going to change for us soon." When she left, the air in the office felt charged, like the calm before a storm. I waited an hour, then another. Then I opened my laptop and checked the trademark office database. My filings had just cleared, approved, and published. Lester Atelier Co. was now officially mine. I poured myself a cup of coffee, took a slow sip, and smiled. At exactly 11:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was Janelle. "Maya," she said sharply, her voice trembling, "what the hell did you do?" I leaned back in my chair. "I'm not sure what you mean. Don't play dumb. The investors, they said the trademark doesn't belong to Lester Atelier anymore. They said it's owned by some new company." She paused, realization dawning. "Lester Atelier Co., that's you, isn't it?" "Actually," I said calmly, "it's just business. You, of all people, should appreciate that." She went quiet for a second. Then she hissed, "You think you can take this from me? You're nothing without me. I built this brand. I brought the investors." I smiled, though she couldn't see it. "Maybe, but I built the product, the story, the design, the soul. You sold an illusion. I sold something real. And now you have neither." I hung up. By the time she returned to the office that afternoon, her heels clicking furiously down the hallway, I'd already packed up my desk. She stormed into my workspace, her eyes blazing. "You ruined me," she spat. "No," I said quietly. "You ruined yourself the moment you thought loyalty was optional." For a long moment, we just stared at each other. Then she turned and left without another word. In the weeks that followed, news spread fast. Her investor deal collapsed completely. Without the trademark, the brand was legally unusable. The website, the packaging, even the marketing materials were pulled offline. Within a month, her new venture fizzled out before it even began. Meanwhile, I relaunched under Lester Atelier Co. Same aesthetic, same story, but this time, it was mine. The customers followed. The sales grew, and within 6 months, we were featured in a major lifestyle magazine as a female-founded success story. When they asked me about my journey, I smiled and said, "It's all about knowing when to protect what's yours." But here's the thing people never see. Revenge doesn't always come from anger. Sometimes it comes from love. I loved what I built so much that I couldn't let anyone corrupt it, not even someone I once called a friend. One evening, months later, I got an anonymous envelope in the mail. Inside was a single photo. Janelle sitting in a small cafe, her hair tied back, no makeup, typing on a cheap laptop. The back of the photo had just one line written in her handwriting, "I underestimated you." I slipped it into my drawer, next to my first product sketch, a reminder of where it all began, and where it ended. Now, when I walk through my warehouse, the hum of machines, the smell of wax and lavender in the air, I sometimes think about Janelle. Not with hate, but with a quiet, cold gratitude. She taught me that betrayal can destroy you, or it can define you. It depends on what you do with the fire it leaves behind. And me? I turned that fire into an empire. You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.